The story opens up as Yoshioka Yuiko, a high school student, wakes up to her phone buzzing with her friend's texts. Today is the first day of her high school, and Yuiko is running extremely late. Ever since the entrance ceremony at her school a week ago, she has been sick with the flu. Thus, her friend suggests she take a day off, as she won't reach school on time anyway. Suddenly, Yuiko's sister barges in her room with a phone and tells her that one of her classmates is on the call. Confused, Yuiko takes the phone and nervously greets the caller. The person on the other side is Matsubara-kun, the class president, who has an extremely beautiful voice. So much so that Yuiko immediately becomes enchanted with him, even without seeing his face. Meanwhile, after asking if she's feeling well, Matsubara informs Yuiko that they'll be having an orientation program followed by a medical checkup for students the day after tomorrow. The following day, Yuiko goes to school where she cannot help but think about what Matsubara would be like in person. However, she still hasn't fully recovered from her fever and starts to feel dizzy in the corridor. Just as she begins to fall down out of nausea, someone grabs her. The familiar voice of Matsubara greets her and asks if she's feeling all right. An excited Yuiko gleefully looks upwards, only to see a bizarre scene. Matsubara's face is completely covered with a brown paper bag. 2 dots for eyes and a cartoonish smile are drawn on the bag to represent his face. But this does not dampen Yuiko's excitement, and she excitedly introduces herself. However, Matsubara notices that she still is burning with fever. As the class's representative, he takes the duty of escorting her to the school's clinic on his own. Meanwhile, in their class, the teacher begins to take attendance and notices that Matsubara is not present. Just as his childhood friend Yuichi begins to defend him, a girl named Midorikawa jumps in and makes up an excuse for Matsubara's absence. In the school's clinic, the attending nurse is nowhere to be found. Thus, Matsubara takes it upon himself to look after Yuiko. He puts a wet cloth on her forehead and makes her promise to never push herself unnecessarily. Matsubara's bizarre headgear does not bother Yuiko, and her chatty, excited behavior towards him signifies that she is quite fond of him. The following morning, Yuiko's infatuation with Matsubara continues as she sees him outside school and accompanies him to their class. Unbeknownst to them, few students sneakily take their photo in order to complain about Matsubara's weird headgear to the president of the school council, Hayodo Makoto. Makoto is a strict personality who does not tolerate his fellow students breaking conventional rules of dressing and thus plans to confront Matsubara. Later in the classroom, Matsubara and his childhood friend Yuichi have a conversation. Because Yuichi has been friends with Matsubara since junior high, he does not find the paper bag odd. However, he states that the other students in the class do find this weird and continuously talk behind Matsubara's back. Just then, Yuiko's friend Aki barges into the classroom with the intention of confronting Matsubara. Without any hesitation, she interrupts the conversation between the two friends and asks Matsubara what he's hiding behind the paper bag. Although Yuichi tries to stop her from asking such rude questions, she does not relent. This leaves Matsubara cornered with no way out, but fortunately, Yuiko sneezes loudly, which pulls all the attention to her. Embarrassed at suddenly being thrusted into the limelight, Yuiko begins to introduce herself to her classmates. She keeps rambling on, pulling all the attention away from Matsubara. She talks about her favorite food and urges everyone else to be friends with her. Taking advantage of this, Matsubara also introduces himself to the class and expresses his sincere desire to be everyone's friend. This heartfelt speech is enough to win over everyone, and the tense atmosphere from earlier turns into a friendly environment. Following this, the whole class goes to the gymnasium for basketball practice. There are still several people who sneer at Matsubara's paper bag, but when he begins to play and effortlessly scores several points, most of the students are left impressed at his athletic ability. After the practice, Yuiko and Matsubara chat, where the latter expresses his gratitude because Yuiko saved him from a tough spot earlier in class. But their conversation is interrupted by Midorikawa, who asks for a private chat with him. From her behavior, it's obvious that she too fancies Matsubara. But before they can have a private chat, Hayodo barges into the gymnasium and angrily confronts Matsubara. He clearly states his dislike for students who do not adhere to the school's dress code. Hayoto begins to get even more personal with Matsubara and asks the onlooking group of students about how anyone can trust a person who hides his face behind a paper bag. He then singles out Yuiko from the crowd and asks her to come forward. A confused Yuiko can only remain silent when he questions if she knows what kind of a person Matsubara is. She tries to defend him but cannot do so under the intense gaze of Hayoto and his deputies. Suddenly, Midorikawa steps in and boldly proclaims that Matsubara is a great class representative who cares about everyone. Hayoto is aware that she is the daughter of the school's director, and thus he completely changes his tone. He makes an excuse and backs out of punishing Matsubara on the spot. He, along with the deputies, leave the gymnasium, promising to handle this matter later. Following this, Yuiko apologizes to Matsubara for not being able to defend him, but he tells her not to worry about it and instead apologizes for dragging her into this matter. A few days pass by and Yuiko's infatuation with Matsubara gets stronger and stronger. She notices how he always greets everybody with kindness and never lashes out at anyone. But his demeanor does not impress Hayoto and his deputies, who are still angry at his unusual headgear. One afternoon, they stop Matsubara on the school grounds and once again confront him in front of several students. Hayoto warns Matsubara to take off his paper bag or he would do so himself. But just as he's about to extend his hand towards the bag, Yuiko grabs him. She asserts that Matsubara is a very kind person and he can dress as he pleases. However, Hayoto seems to be more caught off guard by her beauty than whatever she's saying. He asks her to leave his arm and then rushes away from there. A flashback scene then reveals how Midorikawa and Matsubara know each other. The two were sitting side by side during the entrance exams, and that is when Midorikawa began to be attracted towards him. Currently, she finds him alone in the classroom and approaches him. After asking if he remembers the first time they met, she tries to touch his face. Unbeknownst to them, Yuiko arrives outside the class and misunderstands the whole situation. As days pass by, Midorikawa begins to get closer and closer to Matsubara. One day in class, she even brings several bags of different colors for him. The whole class is now abuzz with the talk of the two dating each other. Afterwards, Matsubara reaches out to Yuiko and asks which of the bags that Midorikawa brought him would look the best, but she responds that he looks the best way he is right now. The following day, Matsubara comes with the same plain brown paper bag on his head, but the pencil-drawn emotions on the bag have changed. Instead of a simple smiley face, he now has a laughing emoticon on it. Later, Yuiko encounters Hayoto in the locker room and thinks he's angry at her for grabbing his hand the other day. In reality, he's smitten by her and can only mutter random words. Then she rushes towards the office where she's been called by her English teacher. Soon, Matsubara and Midorikawa also arrive in the office, and the English teacher asks them to take the notebooks back to the classroom. But the teacher doesn't want Midorikawa to do so because she is the daughter of the school director. He instead asks Yuiko to join Matsubara in the task. However, Matsubara says Midorikawa should accompany him in the task because she is the class rep just like him. This pleases her, while Yuiko becomes more suspicious of the duo's relationship status. A few days pass, and our hero finally begins to notice that Yuiko is no longer her happy, chirpy self. He asks his friend Yuichi about the possible reasons for it, but does not get a concrete answer. Rather, Yuichi gives him a flavored melon bread and asks him to share it with Yuiko. That afternoon, during lunch, Matsubara takes Yuichi's advice and shares the melon bread with Yuiko. In return, she gives him the bento box that her brother prepared for her. The conversation changes into their personal lives, and it's revealed that Matsubara also has a little brother who studies in elementary school. Yuiko wonders what he looks like, but quickly backtracks her words, realizing that it may be offensive to Matsubara. In the meantime, Hayoto's infatuation with Yuiko continues. He goes to her class, hoping to have a conversation with her. But when she's nowhere to be found, another classmate steps forward and asks if he has any messages for her. Hayoto tries to say something, but ultimately fumbles his words. Embarrassed, he walks away from there and meets Midorikawa in the corridor. Sensing that he really likes Yuiko, she says she's rooting for him. She then asks him to propose to Yuiko, but he replies that he will do it in his own time. This sentiment of waiting for the right time really impresses Midorikawa, and she plans to do the same with her one-sided love for Matsubara. Elsewhere on the rooftop, Yuiko and Matsubara have a conversation over lunch. Although she's curious to see the real face behind the paper bag, she does understand that the secret may be something personal for Matsubara. Hence, she does not want to force him to reveal it. That evening, before school ends, Hayoto's deputies call Yuiko to the student council's room. There, they set her up for a private meeting with Hayoto. Soon afterwards, he arrives, and the two begin a heartfelt conversation. Hayoto clears the air that he never wanted to get angry at her and just wanted to talk. This brings a sigh of relief to Yuiko, who says she always thought of him as a strict, scary person. However, in reality, he's just a normal, kind human being. On the other hand, Matsubara runs into Midorikawa in the library. She urges him to reveal his face to her in private, but he refuses. Although this leaves her slightly irritated, rumors begin to circulate that the two are now dating. This rumor falls on Yuiko's ears, so she decides to go home and cook some pumpkins. A few days ago, Matsubara had revealed that his favorite food was pumpkin, and Yuiko now plans to win him over by cooking his favorite dish. The following day, over lunch, Matsubara reaches out to touch Yuiko's face. He is clearly smitten with her innocence and cannot help but extend his arm to touch her. Although Yuiko has no problem with the gesture, she sneezes just as his hand is about to touch her. This jolts Matsubara back to reality, and he immediately retracts his hand, embarrassed at what he was about to do. He then lies to Yuiko about having to meet a teacher and rushes away. In the next scene, Yuiko finds Matsubara sitting alone on the school's stairs, eating the pumpkin candy that Yuiko had given him earlier. He immediately relays the rumor he heard earlier and tells Matsubara that Yuiko seemed to be extremely disturbed by it. A surprised Matsubara then opens up, saying that he couldn't express his love for Yuiko without telling her the secret of his paper bag first. This makes him feel like a coward, but he cannot reveal his secret just yet. Suddenly, Yuichi sees a poster outside a restaurant that gives him an idea. He wants to invite Yuiko to a barbecue picnic over the summer holidays. This will give Matsubara enough time to clarify that he's not actually dating anyone. Elsewhere in the classroom, two girls talk about Matsubara and Midorikawa dating. Yuiko, who is standing nearby, hears this and her heart sinks. However, Midorikawa comes forward and says out loud that she is not dating Matsubara. She then asks Yuiko to accompany her outside the class for a private chat. Outside, Midorikawa reveals that she likes Matsubara a lot, but it's only one-sided. There is nothing going on between the two. Hearing this, Yuiko becomes confused, and she wonders why Midorikawa is telling her all this. Elsewhere, Student Council President Hayoto also asks for a private chat with Matsubara. He bluntly reveals that he likes Yuiko and plans to fight fair and square for her love. A confused Matsubara tries to question why Hayoto is telling him this, but the latter leaves without giving an explanation. Matsubara then returns back to the school's main building where he bumps into Yuiko. Without wasting any time, he asks her to join him and Yuichi for a barbecue picnic over the summer holidays. Yuiko is over the moon by the offer, and she excitedly agrees. In the next scene, Yuichi, Matsubara, Yuiko, and another classmate go for a barbecue picnic. There, they spend quality time together, which allows Yuiko and Matsubara to grow closer to each other.